and welcome to Motivational Monday. Today's topic is hashtag loving you, and we're going to be talking about merging finances. My pastor actually has this quote, this saying that the biggest issues in marriages involve PMSing: power, money, or sex. And so we're going to talk about the M, and we're going to talk about how money can influence or cause strain within a relationship, and how do you merge those finances when you do get married. Merging finances should occur after getting married, assuming that divorce is not an option. So recently, I had a discussion on Facebook about should marries should married couples have a joint account? Why or why not? The the very vast majority of the comments involved people saying that there should be a joint account, and then you should also have your own separate accounts. Personally, I believe in the two shall become one. And if divorce is not an option, why do we need a separate account? I just don't understand. I think personally it leaves room for divorce. It's creating an exit strategy for just in case you have to leave, or just in case they leave you. But also um, it leaves rooms for secrets. And I think that's just the beginning of creating the environment of separation. Um, so you definitely want to make sure money is on the agenda. Money can be a huge issue in couples, but acknowledge the importance of a money issue and bring it to the table. Have a conversation up front, and I encourage that before you even get married, to make sure that you're on the same page. Set up financial goals for 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years at the beginning of your marriage. Rein in the purchases and the debt. A large amount of debt is the number one cause of stress in a marriage. So if you can, before you even get married, try to get rid of some of your debt. Try to handle on your finance. Sorry, my eye is like itching for whatever reason. But try to minimize your debt. And young couples should set a limit for how much they can spend on a purchase. So a lot of times it's looked at, well, why should I get permission to use money that I earn? And I don't think it's about permission. I think it's about communication. So have a set amount, like, hey, if you need to spend more than $200, check in first, so we can make sure that we're on the same page. And both parties should be doing that, regardless of who makes the money. Establish a joint account. Each couple can differ on how to share the financial responsibilities and should be discussed up front. Some people feel that everything should be kept separate. You handle these bills, I handle these bills. Some people feel like you should have a joint account just for bills, and then we each have our own money to do whatever we want with it. And some people feel like you should just have everything in one account. But discuss your finances. It's important for couples to be upfront and transparent with each other, not only with how you're going to handle your finances, but also what your current financial situation is. Definitely have that conversation before you get married. I've heard it suggested that not only should you do a background check before you get married, but also a credit check, just to make sure that you guys are very clear on what your financial situation will look like. But have a financial date with your spouse. So sit down, talk about it, and understand each other's perspective. And I don't know why my eye's itching. But set aside an emergency fund and making sure that you're merging those lifestyles. So a couple of different financial approaches that couples can take. The we're all equals here approach. So they have separate accounts with a joint account to cover the household expenses, ideal for those who are financially equals. And this is also beneficial prior to getting married. The next approach is each according to its own earnings. So each member contributes a percent of their income instead of a specific dollar amount. This is good for couples who have an unequal amounts of income but are looking to balance out their lifestyles. And this approach, the couples have separate accounts with a joint account with percentage contributions. The I've got it approach, where one person pays it all. Typically, one person makes more than the other, and possibly one is in school or one stays home with the kids, and the higher earner takes on the household responsibility. The next approach is the pick your bill approach. So each person chooses certain bills and expenses to pay for. This is good for couples who aren't married, but especially good for them when they earn different amounts. The what's mine is yours approach. That's combining finances completely. Married couples who don't enter the marriage with significant separate finances. So you have a joint account where they deposit absolutely everything into that account. And the act as if approach. Even though both parties work, they live off of one income and save the rest. So this is good for couples where one has an inconsistent income or if they're planning to live off one source of the income in the future. So if you're looking to stop working or if your income is very inconsistent, this could be helpful. Sorry guys, I'm not really sure why, but apparently my face wants me to itch it. So you just gotta do what you gotta do. Definitely making sure that you're honest about your finances and you have those conversations up front. Be upfront about your assets, but also your debts. Because when you do get married, the responsibility is on both. You can't plan a life together if someone's being dishonest. So just be honest about what's going on, but have a sit down conversation, have that financial date together where you discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly. And hopefully you do that before getting married. And having the conversation about where does the money go, who pays for what, who manages the money, and there's no right answer to that. And making those long term plans towards paying off debt, emergency fund, and making plans for long term savings such as retirement. So you definitely want to make sure that you're having those conversations up front, and I hope this really, really helps. I am curious to know how you and your partner decide to handle your finances, so please put your comments below. And as always, if there's any topics that you want me to cover, just leave your comments there, and I'd be happy to talk about them.